Well, I could go through all these other countries, but I think that in the end the challenge would be for our work to not only say something about the specific countries that we selected for our research, but to say something more for many more countries across Europe. Well, by that I come to the end of my presentation. I would want to point out the partners that we work with in Pillar 1, that are the Warsaw as Agricultural University, it's Athens as Agricultural University, it's the Polytechnical University in Madrid, it's WERLI, it's WERPPO, that's in Wageningen and The Hague, and Randwijk. It's not Randstad, it's Randwijk. And we have smaller partners with ERTA and ACW. And then I also want to point out the people that provided most of the material for my presentation today. And that are Jos Bartels, Marleen Onwezen, Magdalena Krasiewska, and Andreas Drigutis. And then my question is whether there are questions.
Yes, we have possibilities to come up with questions here.
Yeah, I have a question, Ivo. You mainly concentrated on all kind of fruit products.
Yeah.
Earlier this morning we heard from Lars that especially in Denmark fruit consumption enormously increased in the last couple of years. I mean, where should we focus on? Maybe on both? I also don't know if you can answer this question. Is it important to focus on these fruit products to increase fruit consumption, or rather say, okay, eat an apple a day, or eat a pineapple, or an orange, or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, what's your idea about that?
You make me hesitate. I have been thinking about if I would get such an answer, if I would get such a question, which is more or less logical after the presentation of today by Morten. What kind of answer shall I give? And one of the answers is, but for that we should put up the poster of the Danish campaign. Is that possible? Can you do that? Well, basically it's about, so in Denmark what they do is they provide fruits in the working place. So that's supposed to have one huge effect on consumption of fruits. On the other hand side, they have a campaign where they mainly associate fruit with sex. So they have a poster where they arranged fruits and vegetables in the position that as a woman and a man would do intercourse. Well, I didn't try it this evening yet. But perhaps some other people from Isofruit will have tried it this evening. But I can tell you that that's a situation that's not so suited for fruit consumption. Or that's at least my guess. So I think that's a demonstration that it's not only the situation, but it's also something else. It's also not only the product characteristics, but it's also the advertisement. So I think it's really the interplay. And I think that Morten was right, let's say, is that within the Isofruit project we are mainly focusing on product characteristics. But you can also say, well, those product characteristics, if you change them, it makes fruit available in more situations than it was available up till now. So I think it is the interplay. You can also say, let's say that until now, or at least specifically in the Isofruit project, most attention goes to product characteristics, and it's well worth to consider how you could influence the situation. But in the end, it's the interplay between consumer, product, and situation, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Others?
Ivo, very interesting presentation. What I'm wondering, and what we're discussing for years now, is we have picked now 4 different countries, and you try to say, well, is Greece or Spain representative for other countries than just Spain or Greece? What do you think if we would like to draw conclusions on more EU states than we did most of the work in? What kind of future strategies would you use to get some, because I'm wondering if Spain is the same as France, and if so, I don't think so. So what would you suggest? Do you have any ideas for future strategies to get some more insight in more consumers than just these 4 countries?
Yeah. Well, one remark perhaps first. I know why Jos says that it's a very nice presentation, because large part is based on what he produced, so that's why. The way to generalize it is very difficult, I think, but of course different countries are characterized in terms of, for instance, Hofstede dimensions. So we have knowledge about differences between countries, and those differences between the countries, we could relate them to the differences in results that we see between Greece, Poland, the Netherlands, and Spain. That's one part of the answer, I think, but I think it will be a difficult task. The other part of the answer is that in the ISAFood project, in Pillar 1, we are doing still an additional part where we try to validate the results that we now have, where we ask people for their willingness to buy. We ask them, we try to validate those results by looking at existing innovations in fruit. So innovations that came on the market in recent years, and we try to explain their success or failure in terms of the concepts that we included in this study. So I think that will at least show how our results, or whether our results are valid for the countries in which we carried out the study. We will also do that in the UK and in Germany. So it will already say something about, well, how do our results generalize to countries such as Germany and England? And going from that, let's say, we could, in a careful way, go to other countries. At the same time, if somebody would be really interested in, for instance, the results in Switzerland, he would be invited to carry out the same study in Switzerland. And the advantage would then be that he or she would have a some kind of base, let's say, to compare his or her results against. So that's, or in that sense, let's say, the study is also is very useful, I think. Is that a sufficient answer?
May I add a comment for France, because we would like to be like Spain, but it's not possible. And we've got also to be very careful about organization of fruit chain and commercialization, which are very different between countries. And for example, one thing in which we differ with Spain is commercialization in big supermarkets, which is predominant in France, about 70%, when in Spain it's lower. If Johan can correct me, it's 40%. So it's a big difference to put innovation in the chain and to promote innovation or new products. So we have to be very careful. It's part of what you have called situation, and situation is really, you have to know who will sell the product, who will sell the innovation, to have your strategy prepared. I think it's most important.
Well, perhaps I can make a comment to that. From these results, let's say, the idea is that you can develop ideas for how to market particular products in a country. But of course, before you really produce that product and start a full marketing campaign to really promote the product in a country, you should also test that marketing campaign. So it's basically, you should take small steps, but these are the seeds, you could say, for developing ideas about how to market particular products in a particular country in Europe. But once you start to do that, you should also test the ideas that you had based on these results.
Well, I think time is up for the discussions here. I would like to thank all the speakers for their presentations this morning.